We have him at Canadella down in Miami, didn't we, Michelle?
We did. We did. We met him. This is Caesar. He's got Cultivating Wisdom.
Hmm.
Welcome to our podcast.
Mark,
Tell us a little
Michelle,
bit about you, Caesar.
Mark, Michelle, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm honored to be with you guys. We had the pleasure of connecting in Miami at Canadelic. And I think right from when we looked at each other's eyes, we realized that, we were doing something special, that we were connected in a way that plant medicine has helped connect so many of us, right? So I think it was beautiful. So again, thank you very much for having me on your podcast. I'm incredibly, I'm going to say proud of what you guys are doing, of the healing that you're bringing to people, because that's a really important mission that a lot of us are on, to talk to people about plant medicine, about the healing power of plant medicine. Plant medicine came into my life about 6 months ago at a really transitional moment in my life, where at the age of 54, I was losing my job at CNN. CNN, after the merger, the buyout from Discovery, I was laid off, and it just so happens that I started microdosing at around the time that I was about to lose my job. And psychedelics just really changed my mind. Plant medicine, in particular psilocybin, incredibly transformed the way I look at not just life, but at myself, at how
Right.
I hold myself to a different standard, because I believe in myself and I'm authentic in who I am since I started to microdose. And in all of this, as you guys said, what is cultivating wisdom? I started an apparel brand for people to manifest the fact that they're using psychedelics in an apparel that is not trippy, that's not psychedelic, that's not tie dye, and not that there's anything wrong with that. I think tie dye art is really beautiful. Psychedelic art is really beautiful, but I sometimes look at myself and I go, okay, I'm a 55-year-old man, right? If I wear something that's tie dye, that's very psychedelic, what are people going to say? He's a
Right.
hippie.
Right. Right.
He's a hippie. He's a stoner. He's whatever. Where I
Right.
can wear something like this with a jacket and say, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm a member of my community. I vote. I volunteer. And yes, I use psychedelics. I use them as a life performance enhancer. I use them
Mm.
as a biohack. I use them to be more empathetic, to be more creative, to be more aware, to be more conscious, to be more authentic, as I said. So yeah, plant medicine, as you guys, it's also sort of made such a wonderful change in your guys' lives. It's also touched me in a very magical way.
Okay. Give me 1 second, because I love the fact that you had a career, lifetime
Correct.
career with
Lifetime
CNN.
career. Correct.
Okay. And just 6 months ago, what brought you to psilocybin and microdosing? Because had you had any experience prior to that with psychedelics, maybe in college or
Um, so first question, have I had experience before? I had ecstasy twice as a recreational situation. Wasn't, it was a recreational curiosity at that
Hmm.
time. It was just wrong setting, maybe. So really didn't get the potential of it. And this, we're talking, 15 years ago.
yeah.
Um, 6 7 months ago, I was battling a cannabis addiction. I don't throw shade on cannabis. I think cannabis is a really powerful medicine for some people. Unfortunately, like anything, um, it can become addictive, right? Because I think
Hmm.
that the addiction doesn't come from the substance, or it comes from the human, right? The human is the one that sort of, their mind is sort of taken over of what they want to do. So my first last year, my first real dive into psychedelics was out of a recreational curiosity. Someone had told me that they had an experience with psilocybin, and that they felt like a child, that they felt just this wonderment, this incredible feeling. And a couple of weeks later, someone else that I come across is also had some psilocybin and was on a recreational bike ride with a whole bunch of people. And they said the same thing to me, and that sort of opened up the curiosity. So my first dive into uh, real dive into plant medicine was out of a recreational curiosity, but very quickly after that first major experience, I realized what happened. Like, what was it that just happened to me in my body that sort of made me a little bit more conscious, made me a little bit, because I tell people that first experience was on a big bike ride. It was a medium dose. Yeah, there was this feeling of wonderment. There was this feeling of being a child. But as I drove home, there was something inside of me that was very conscious that said, you shouldn't be driving like this. And it was all those sort of little things that sort of made me really dive into, okay, what is it that just happened? And as a journalist before, I dive head first into, okay, what is psychedelic? Oh, wait a minute, this is being used as medicine. And this is being used to treat depression. It's being used to treat anxiety, and it's being to treat PTSD. And wait a minute, what is this microdosing thing? And people using microdosing to get over addiction. And that's when the heart really spoke up. And I'm a huge believer that the person who's addicted to whatever it is, that it's the brain that controls, right? It's the brain that says, you know what, just one more hand and I promise you we'll stop gambling. Just one more drink and we'll never drink again. Tomorrow we'll go sober. Just one more joint and that's it. We'll stop smoking weed forever. But it's not until the heart finally says, hey, stop. What are we doing? And that's what sort of happened when I started reading that microdosing was helping. So it was out of a recreational curiosity, that first dive. Then
Right.
quickly I realized that there's a potential of healing through this. And then I go and implement it in my life so that one, I'm able to sort of figure out what was going to come after CNN, what was I going to do with my life. And then also, again, to really help me to battle that addiction that I had, to really be conscious of what I was doing, to sort of say to myself, what, you don't need that. You know what I mean? Don't give into that. And then the next day go, well, you didn't need it yesterday. Why would you need it today?
Right.
And that's how plant medicine really became a huge part of my life, where now it's, again, I own an apparel company for people to manifest this. I'm looking for speaking engagements to talk to people about the wonderment of psychedelic medicine and share my experience, because I think that's really important, that us who have healed, like you guys are doing, share our experiences, right? That we say, hey, you know what? I used to have these demons that I had to deal with, and now I found something that has helped me deal with them. That has helped me deal with them. And like I tell people, look, I'm not an advocate that anyone does anything illegal, right? I don't promote or advocate, but I will share my experience and how it's changed my life and how
Right.
I've become a better person.
So let me ask you something, Caesar. This has been just a short time now. I mean, this has been less than a year you've been on this path. Have you had have you had any bigger journeys, the macrodose
I have,
journeys?
I've
And
had
are
two.
those that's where you're getting the most benefit? Is that where you found that biggest benefit?
I
Because go ahead.
Yeah, Mark, I'm gonna be honest with you. I tell people, when I tell them about my first big journey, I had a macrodose for my birthday, on my 55th birthday, on November 16th, and I tell people, the podium of my life, the podium of Cesar Marin's life, obviously on top, the birth of my children. I mean, that's without a doubt, though, the most important moments, special moments in my life. Two, meeting my wife at the age of 50. You know what I mean? Meeting the love of my life, of someone who sort of um, really understands me, really knows who I am, really has my best interest in her best interest. And then third, that moment, that first macro journey, where so many things were opened up, from my path to where I was going, to my heart, to um, questions that I had. And you guys know, I think any psychedelic journey with intentions, intentions are incredibly important to give the medicine a roadmap of what you're looking for. And
Right.
that first macro journey was, one of the questions was what holds me back? What is it that holds me back from doing things? From what is it? And it did. It took me exactly to where I needed to go. It took me to some dark childhood places where it said, this is why, and this is why you need to let that go. This is
Right.
why you need to understand it. Okay, you need to accept it. You need to forgive, and then you need to move forward. And you need to put that in the back of your mind, and you need to move forward. And it was a lot of things like that. It was a lot of things that sort of opened up a lot of consciousness. From my kids obviously had questions about, wait a minute, hold on a second. You're gonna stop doing cannabis to now do psychedelics? I mean, hello. And really, you're going to create a company so people manifest that they're doing something that it's illegal, right? I mean, let's it's still illegal, right? And the medicine told me, look, understand that they will have questions, right? But They will be by your side. They might not understand, but eventually they will, and they'll walk by you. They'll walk with you. So there was a lot of things in that macro journey that were really important. And then I did have another one right before we met in Canadelic, where um, I just really wanted to ask the medicine where I was going, like where was this path, and the medicine was pretty much, look, if you're doing this with your heart, if you're leading with your heart, if you're doing it, if the intentions are to help other people and to share your story, then you're going to be okay. Then you're going to be okay. So it was both journeys had intentions. I've been able to integrate the message, the lessons that I've learned into those on a daily basis into my daily life. So yes, Mark, for sure, I've gotten incredible insight from those macro journeys. Um, and it's the micro dosing regimen, the protocol that I think helps me keep that level
It's that,
headed.
yeah, it's that daily regimen. It's that
Right.
daily, it's kind of like your daily maintenance is what the microdosing does.
It's the
And just look at that
reconnect.
short period of time that everything that's kind of happened
Mm,
to. I mean, you lost your fear of CNN. You started a new company. I mean, in this short period of time, you've overcome these attachments. I think that's what psychedelics in general do. They help you overcome your attachments, all these things we're so attached to that we're just told to be attached to. And you see that in your growth. I mean, in a short amount of time,
It's
look what you've done.
amazing.
yeah,
So
And your what you've started here, cultivating wisdom, and
yeah,
I'd like you to talk about it a little
yeah,
bit.
let's do
But
that.
your the back of your T-shirt, I know your T-shirts all say different things, but what I love is it says psilocybin changed my life. And it's a conversation starter, right? And I remember you telling me this at Canadelic, and I wear your T-shirt, and
thank you.
we were out somewhere, and somebody behind me said, "I love your shirt. What's that about?" And it started a conversation. And
Yeah,
Mark and I start conversations like this. I don't have it on today, but I wear a mushroom necklace all the time.
definitely.
Every time I wear it, people say, "I love that necklace. What's that about?" And then we can start talking about it. And people are surprised, like you. I mean, people would look at you and think, well, here's this man with this lifelong career at CNN,
Yeah,
right? Who is using psychedelics to change his life. So
yeah.
talk to me about cultivating wisdom and the conversations you're looking to start.
Thanks so much, Michelle. First of all, thank you so much for repping our gear. It's and that's the purpose, right? The purpose is that we start these conversations, right? That I wear a shirt that says microdosing on it, right? I'm not sure we should have one, right? That if you wear a shirt like this, right, a couple of things can happen. One, you find someone who is microdosing, and this has happened several times. In fact, a couple months ago, I was in the supermarket and I had my T-shirt on, and the woman comes up to me. She goes, "Do you microdose?" And I go, "Yeah." Can you tell why? Because of my smile? She goes, "No, because of your T-shirt, dummy." I went, "Oh, okay." And she said, "You know what? I started microdosing, and before I started microdosing, I used to have a bottle of wine every day. Like I come home, and I wanted to forget my whatever work and my kids and the problems, whatever. I had my first glass, and then by the second glass, I forgot why I was drinking, and then by the third glass was I wasn't going to leave just a little bit of half a bottle. You know what I mean? I got to finish the bottle. I'd forgotten everything. So it's sort of now I microdose. I'm much more centered. I'm much more focused. And we had this great conversation. And I've had one or two conversations where someone has come up to me and said, "You microdose?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I microdose." They go, "I've heard about that. I've read about that. I've seen it on CNN. I saw it on Ted Lasso or wherever it was that they sort of but I have no one to talk to. I have no one to ask. And I know what to do, where to start. Can you cultivate me with your wisdom?" And it's opened up many conversations, and it's opened up, the fact that a lot of people are curious. A lot of people are curious, but they just don't have someone to talk to. They just don't. Who do I ask? I'm not gonna go, asking around. And there are great. In other words, here in Atlanta, we have an amazing psychedelic association, which is a wonderful group that meets every week. And again, that's a wonderful forum to go and say, "Hey, I'm interested," or I don't, what I mean, I have questions. Um, and that's what the apparel brand really wants to do. It wants to create these conversations. It wants to be something that's organic. Like I said, that I can wear something that I can wear with a jacket and go to dinner or go wherever, and it's not people aren't going to be taken aback. Oh, well, you know what I mean? This guy's tripping or whatever. It's sort of, oh, wait a minute, hold on a second. What is that? Is that a
Right.
mushroom? I've heard
Yeah.
about
Right.
that. Like, is that like those functional mushrooms, or is that, the other type of mushrooms, or it's that? But again, it's these conversations. It's these conversations are, I really feel, what will helpfully continue to take plant medicine to where it needs to be, right?
Right.
Because let's be honest, the stigma still exists, especially with
Oh, of
Oh
and
yeah.
course.
especially
It
with
even exists. It even exists in the plant medicine community. So I mean, it's just got to be. But so with cannabis too. I mean, cannabis has taken so long, and but the difference between cannabis and psychedelics, and Michelle knows I say this all the time, is through the process of cannabis, it's a lot different. Psychedelics, you see results. Cannabis, there's really not too many results. I mean, there is a little bit of calmness. There's a little bit of
Well,
aches
people
and
get
pains,
pain relief
pain
and
relief.
things like
yeah,
that,
But
but
no, yeah, yeah,
mental
mental health
health,
wise, the
correct,
results come
mental
with
health.
the,
no,
I
and
mean, psychedelics are here to heal our addictions, to
yeah,
heal us at a cellular level.
it's funny you say that, and I like the way you sort of phrase that, Mark, because I found, at least, and again, I only talk about my experience. I'm not a scientist. I don't have the research background, but
But the only thing science does is that the only thing science does is makes you question.
that's true. Yeah, it can. Yeah, science can. It does. And what I was going to sort of preface was that when I go from uh, using cannabis to using psilocybin, my mom was also one that was like, "What? Wait, hold on a second. What are you doing?" And she called my wife, concerned, and said, "Wait a minute. What? Talk to me. What's like? What is going? Is he off his rocker?" And she said, "No. I'm going to be honest with you. Before, he was hiding from his problems. Before, the cannabis helped him escape
Mhm.
from the realism of everyday situation, whether it was work, whether it was bills, whether it was whatever it was like an escapism. It was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna get high, and okay, and again, like I said, cannabis is an incredible medicine for people who are going through chemotherapy, for people,
Yes.
for people who have conditions that they don't have an
Yes.
appetite and they need to eat. The cannabis helps them open up their appetite. So it's a beautiful, beautiful medicine, but
Yes.
it can also, if not used intentionally and not used as medicine, again, we go back to the same thing. It's sort of plant medicine, right? There's a big difference between recreational use and medical use, right? There's a real big difference, and I think obviously, you know, people who use it recreationally, that's but we have to understand that there is also this potential healing power through these medicines that could really help us. And that's what psilocybin did for me, right? My wife told my mom, she goes, "Look, before he was hiding from his problem, now he's confronting them.
Yeah.
Now he's head on. Now he's head on, and with a smile on his face, with a, you
Right.
know what, we can do this. With a, you know what, there's no challenge that if we don't put our heart and our brain to it, that we can at least confront." So that's what it's definitely done to me, right? It's definitely helped me, not to find escapism, but to find a
Right.
way to sort of say, you know what, how do we figure this out? How do we, figure out what we're doing? So yeah, it's important. I think that people realize that this is medicine, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
That used
for sure.
intentionally. I go back to the same thing. Intentions are a big, big part of this practice. It's at least for me, the intentions and the integration have been just as important as the medicine, right? And people ask me, they go, "Caesar, what would have been of you if you would not have found plant medicine and you would have gotten laid off at CNN?" And I go,
You would have still been
And
Caesar.
what
"Hey,
and
yeah,
what
correct.
was the
I would
answer?
still, yeah, I would have still been me, definitely.
Mhm.
But would I have fallen down a deeper hole of the addiction with the cannabis because I lost my job and I didn't have anything else, right? Because what was I going to go? Because let's be honest, who's hiring 55-year-old producers? You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
Let's be
right,
honest. TV news is going the way of the newspaper. People
right.
get their phone, their news on their phones. Not a lot of people are going, "Oh, it's 5 o'clock. We got to go watch Wolf Blitzer. Everybody sit down. Let's turn on the TV. What channel? CNN. Let's." So again, plant medicine really helped me to open up my neural pathways to my authenticity, and then find this guiding light of psychedelics in my life to help me better myself. This brand to sort of say, okay, let's help people manifest the fact that this is going on. And that's the mission, right? The mission
That
is,
is,
yeah, the mission is to be honest about what psychedelic medicine is, to share
Yeah,
our.
and it is the results. I mean, you have to say I mean, statistics are the age bracket to where this is really picking up is this
our
35
age.
to 65. I mean, so these people want to see these results. We're so stuck in this um, conditioning of society. So I think what you're doing is beautiful. The
Mhm.
awareness is great. And, keeping on doing what we're doing. So let's talk about where cultivating wisdom and things like the plant medicine path and,
And our
you
sister
know,
affiliate, Mama
yeah,
Dose.
where we're all going with
First of all,
all this.
congratulations to you guys on Mama Dose. That is
Yeah,
an
where we're
amazing,
going with all this because
amazing.
in the, you know, we're in this to inform
Yeah.
and we all know we're working in
Educate.
a gray area too, but
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
is gray and what's not gray. So I think where are you going with yours and where are we going with ours? But let's talk about where cultivating wisdom's going, where you want to be.
Yeah. So again, I want to be a thought leader for people my generation, for people our generation, right? That again, I go back to the same thing, that people see someone like me and go, okay, wait a minute, I also suffer that anxiety and that depression that he could have
Yep.
suffered.
Yep.
I also have an addiction that, you know what I mean, that I'm trying to battle with, that I'm trying to deal with. Um, that I'm hopefully that person that people can look at and go, you know what, if he can do it, if he transformed his life, if he lost his job at 54 and was able to find something to sort of center him and, think more clarity, then that's
Yep.
fine. And also, I want to be a voice for the Hispanic community, right? I
Right.
sort of
Yes.
entered this, first as, you know what, let's sort of see where this is. The Anglo community obviously is a lot more tuned and open to this. But now I feel part of my mission to also speak out to the Hispanic community to say, hey, this potential exists, right? Your doctor's not going to tell you about it, obviously. Your doctor's not going to tell you about it. Your friends might not tell you about it, but it does exist. So it's the mission is moving forward that cultivating wisdom becomes a movement, right? A movement in what Paul Stamets called it, canadelic, this psychedelic revolution, right?
Yep.
That we are these revolutionaries, and it's not
Yes.
with pitchforks, and it's not with knives, and it's not
Yes.
with guns. It's with information. It's with
Yep.
information.
Yes.
It's with compassion. It's with empathy. It's with fact-based knowledge that we share, that we can have this movement go forward, right? That we can have
Exactly.
Yes.
acceptance, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful for me to sort of see, situations like a couple of weeks ago. I was at Emory University. Emory University is one of the biggest, medical universities in the East Coast and the Southeast, and they have a department just dedicated to compassion healing and psychedelics. And it's like when you see that, and then the other week I was in Miami at this, at the Benzinga conference, and seeing so many people and so many companies with big interest to move this forward. I sort of feel like we're part of this movement. Like we're part of this movement. We're part of this revolution. We're part of this psychedelic revolution that is going on. And it's awesome that we do this. And again, the apparel brand is more of a bit of a billboard, right, to start this
Right.
Yeah.
conversation. It's not like, I'm not Nike. No, I'm not. It's sort of
Right.
it's more of a billboard. It's more of a conversation opener.
Right.
And then
Absolutely.
Yes.
yeah, and then like I said, then myself, hopefully getting in front of audiences and telling people, look, and transformation is possible at any age,
Right.
Yes.
at any potential. You can transform your life. It takes work. Yes, it takes work. And the medicine is not going to do it for you. I mean, it's like, look, I'm a big hater of the word magic mushrooms, because the magic doesn't come from the mushrooms.
No.
Magic comes from the human, right? I can
Yeah.
sit here,
Yes.
I can sit here and eat, you know, 8 grams of mushrooms and go, okay, let's go. Okay, where's the magic? What's
Right.
going on? Nothing's gonna happen. Now, if I
Right.
set intention and I know what I'm doing and I have some medicine and I go, okay, let me get some clarity. That's where the magic happens. The magic happens from oneself, from thinking a little bit differently. It's sort of, I tell people, I think they had the message. The message was correct. It was the tone that was wrong. When they were
Right.
telling us, it's gonna change your mind. If they would have said, it's going to change your mind, we would have said, okay, wait a minute. And that's the purpose, right? The purpose is for it to change your mind. That's
Yes.
sort of not stuck in that, default mode network. You know what I mean?
Right.
That sort of constantly thinking the same thing. So it will change your mind. Um, it will potentially change your mind for the better. And that's, again, it's sort of the mission of cultivating wisdom is really in path with what you guys are doing, which is
Right.
educating people, right? That's the main goal. The main goal is to poke at people's childhood curiosity
Yep.
with
Mhm.
education, right? With facts.
Yes.
Well,
Yes. We feel the same way.
absolutely.
We love what you're doing. We love that what you bring to the table. And I think cultivating wisdom is amazing. It's
Me
an
too.
amazing conversation starter. And it takes people like us who maybe you wouldn't think, people might not look at you and go, he eats mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's what it is. We're changing that stigma
Correct.
and we're trying to get information and education out there.
Yeah.
And I think, before we end this, I think this. I think there's a lot of we have a lot of things going for us now than we did back in the 60s. We have a wide open communication network. If we
Hmm.
do it properly, we can get
Yes.
the word out there more. We have results of like people like me and you. And
Correct.
we see the mistakes we made in the 60s, and we don't want to do that now. We don't
Mm-hmm.
want to do the magic
Hmm.
mushrooms and the trippy on acid and the
Correct.
Exactly.
colors and this. We want to make sure this is geared
Mental
towards mental
health.
health,
Mental health, mental wellness,
Mental health.
exactly.
mental
Mental
wellness. And I think
mental wellness.
what you're doing, Caesar, is amazing.
Yeah.
Cultivating wisdom's amazing. We're glad to be working with you.
You can find Cultivating Wisdom very soon in Mama Doe's shop and the
Yes.
Plant Medicine
Yes.
Path.
Yes.
But
Yes.
right
Excited
now,
about that.
you can find them. We've put up
Uh,
your
My
thing
Right
here.
QR code.
before we
Thank you.
go, show the back of your shirts
Yeah,
before
we
we go.
love
I want to
those.
see the back.
So there's a couple here. So there's a couple really
Yep.
cool designs. I don't know if you guys remember. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs.
Yep.
This
Yeah,
is your
remember
brain.
this
This is your brain
commercial,
on
guys?
psilocybin.
Yep.
Right.
There you
And
go.
then as Michelle says, yeah, the back of the shirt say, "Psilocybin changed my life."
Love that.
And it did. I mean, it's changed so many people's lives for so much better, for such the better that, you know, it's amazing. I tell people, look, what it's a beautiful option. Mother Nature has given us a lot of things that we have, a lot of things that we have, a lot of things that we need. We were just programmed that it was bad.
Yep.
And I like Michelle said, and Mark said, to sort of get away from that magic mushrooms, that trippy, that whatever that again that people see people like us, like business owners, right? We're business owners. We're thriving. We're doing well. We're being part of our community. We're being empathetic. We're opening our arms to people. That's what psychedelics can potentially do.
Yeah.
That's what we're using it for. So it's a beautiful mission that we're on.
We are. We're on it together. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you,
More to
Caesar.
come.
Have a great
We
day.
appreciate
Beautiful.
you.
Thank you guys so much. Much love to all of you. Again, like I said, I'm incredibly proud of what you guys are doing. I'm incredibly thankful that you guys are in my circle, that we've made this connection, because that's what it's about. It's about that mycelium, right? It's about those connections that we make,
Yes.
and we
Absolutely.
Connections.
continue to have those connections and make them stronger. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful. Like I said, once again, thank you guys so much for inviting me on your podcast, to share my message, to share both of our messages, right, of what we're doing. So thank you guys so much.
Don't
We
forget
appreciate you.
cultivating wisdom for your gear, your um,
Apparel.
Yeah,
apparel, and then
cultivating. Yeah,
Mama
correct.
Dose
Mama
also
dose.
for your
Yeah, cultivating wisdom.
daily dose of Mother Earth.
Yeah, I love that.
All right.
Cultivatingwisdom.net. And just to people, the military runs very deep in my family. I know that you guys are helping vets also. I've had a couple of discussions with vets, the last couple of days. And there's an underlying theme that a lot of them had with me, and the fact that suicide rates in the military and vets coming back are so deep is troubling. And a lot of them, talk to me about how the PTSD that they suffer doesn't sometimes come from what they saw while they were out there or while they were serving. It sometimes comes when they come back, right,
Yeah.
to adjust and to sort of, where do I fit in? And so we've committed to donate part of our proceeds to Vet Solution, which is an organization which help vets find uh, psychedelic medicine therapy. And I tell people, please, I implore you, if you know someone who's serving, if you have a vet in your life, a neighbor, a family, just reach out, see how they are, say hello. You know what I mean? They need that. They need that, and I think that's part of that empathy, right? Of that empathy that we have as we've been awakened, right? That we sort of are more in tune with the rest of humanity. That we do, hold some of our vets in our heart, right? That we say, hey, you know what? I just wanted to check in on you, say hello, tell you I love you, tell you I was thinking about you, because that's and not just vets, all our friends. You know what I mean? Sometimes we're so consumed with everything that we have around us, whether it's work, whether it's project, whatever it is, that sometimes we have a tendency as humans to sort of forget that there's other important things in our lives, especially the human beings around us. That we sort of, the more we connect with them, the happier we are, right? Those connections, smiles aren't just for other people. Smiles are for us also.
Hmm. What a
Thank you
perfect way
so
to end that.
much.
Thank you,
Appreciate you,
Caesar.
Caesar.
Love you guys so
We
much.
will
Thank you again.
continue the conversation.
I
Ciao.
can't wait. Ciao, ciao.